conference will now be
my
recorded.
introduction. So my name is Ashish, and I have total 18 years of experience in SAP. Out of that, from the last 12 years, I am working in EWM and providing EWM trainings, project support, and interview assistance from last close to 6 years. Okay, so this is a demo session for the upcoming batch that will be starting from next week. And the agenda here, we will go through a short presentation. I will explain you about the warehouse structure, and then we will go to the course content, and then the session will be open for the forum will be open for everyone for Q&A. At any point of time, in case you have any questions, feel free to stop me there and clarify your doubts. So let me know once you are able to see my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, Ashish.
Okay, so as we all know, EWM is the extended warehouse management, and that is used for the complex warehouses. So that is the product of SAP. SAP already had a WM application, but the WM application is going to sunset in 1 year or maximum 2 years, and then SAP will stop providing support for the WM. And that is the reason all the organizations which are currently having WM are migrating into SAP EWM, and all the new projects would be coming in SAP EWM only. So earlier WM was a failure, and SAP was losing the business in the warehousing space with the competitors like Oracle and Marathon and the different applications, warehousing applications. But EWM, as you all know, it is having a quite a high demand. It is a niche skill, and it is a big hit from the SAP. So it is the sure shot tool or application for all your warehousing requirement, be it a simple warehouse or it is a complex warehouse, it is a heavily complex warehouse, it is automated warehouse. For all the warehouses, you have SAP EWM offering all the solutions. Now when we talk about EWM, where the EWM stands. So in this diagram you can see the entire supply chain, and if you consider any organization, say for example Nestle, you all know Nestle, that is a dairy company in the cheese and milk production. So here what you can see, you have the supply chain. If you consider from the Nestle point of view, they will procure the milk. Once they procure the milk, they will store the milk in the warehouse. From there, they will withdraw the milk and use it in the production lines to produce the cheese products. The cheese products, they will be further stored in the warehouse, and from there it will be shipped to the customer. This is the basic supply chain. Now in this supply chain, where EWM stands. So here, when the company procures the milk, that is your material management, that is procurement. But when they store it in the warehouse, that is your EWM. When they withdraw from the warehouse, that is your production planning integration with EWM. And when you ship it to the customer from the warehouse, that is sales and distribution integration with EWM. So EWM is warehousing module. Whenever you receive the product, that will be stored in the warehouse. Whenever you ship the product, that will be shipped out of the warehouse. Whenever you withdraw the product from the warehouse for the production consumption or sampling for the quality inspection, all that would be your EWM and integration with your respective modules. So if you already have an experience in SAP, you know the basic org structure where you have the company code. Say again, if you consider the example of Nestle, if Nestle is having presence in US, Canada, and say Asia region, then you have multiple company codes. One company code for the US, one company code for the Canada, and so on. Now within the company code, you have several plants. Plant could be your manufacturing site, it could be your distribution center, it could be your office, it could be your third party logistics. And then within plant, you have storage locations. So storage location where you are storing the product. Now, where EWM comes into picture. So here you can see plant storage location combination is linked to the warehouse. And this warehouse is your regular WM, which is going to sunset in 1 year or so. And then when we talk about EWM, then this 3-character WM warehouse is linked to your 4 characters EWM warehouse. So the fence which you can see here is the distribution between ERP and EWM. So ERP is the supply chain module where your all the regular MM, PP, SD modules are there, and then EWM is exclusively your warehousing application. In case your organization is in the WM, then you don't need to set up E100 here, that is a 4-character EWM warehouse. All your configurations and design will be in E00. Again, E00 and E100 are just for the representation. In system, you can have any 3 characters or maximum any 4 characters, your EWM warehouse. And in case you have EWM, then the 3-character warehouse is just a bridge between ERP and EWM. You don't need to set up anything here. It is just a linkage between your ERP and your EWM. And then when we talk about the EWM structure, then here you can see you have a warehouse divided into storage type, further divided into storage section, and the last spot where you are storing the product is your storage bin. So if we go into the details of the org structure, I can just explain you here. So most of you are from the US, so you know Walmart. So Walmart is a retail giant. Assuming that this is your Walmart store. Okay, now whenever we think of EWM, first think of the business. If you are in the retail, then you will think from the retail business point of view, because even though EWM is not there, still Walmart is having the structure, it is not going to change. They are doing the business, it is not going to change. That means your business is driving the EWM solution and EWM is not controlling your business. So if you think from the business point of view, from the warehouse point of view, if you visualize the warehouse structure, assuming that this is your Walmart store. Now, when you talk about Walmart store, they have different shelf. In the Walmart store, you have different shelf. Suppose here you are storing stationery item. Here you are storing say, fruits and vegetables. Okay, now within fruits and vegetables, you have a separate area for fruits and separate area for vegetables. So in a simple process, very simple process, how the store will work. Suppose you have a truck which is coming in the warehouse. A truck is coming in the warehouse. You are unloading multiple cartons of apples, right? You are unloading multiple cartons of apple, and then this carton of apples would be stored in the area reserved for fruits. Okay, so here you have multiple cartons, and here you have the area dedicated for fruits. So if you visualize further from the warehouse point of view, if you are a warehouse resource, what you will be doing in the warehouse? The resource will be coming here. The warehouse resource will be scanning the label having carton, having apples, and then after scanning the carton barcode, the system will direct him to go to the appropriate place and store the product. Okay, this is a simple process. So now if we map it with the org structure, this is your warehouse. which is divided into storage types, which is further divided into storage section, and the last spot where you are storing the product is your storage bin. Okay, so if we go again one step ahead, what is the difference? In case you don't have EWM, you are using the regular IM application, non EWM, non WM, only the IM. In that case, you are storing at the storage location level. That means when you receive the carton of apples, see, Walmart would be having this store structure like this only. Even if you use EWM or don't use EWM, they will be having this structure. But in case you are not using EWM, then the moment you have unloaded the carton of apples from the truck, there is no further direction from the system side. The warehouse resource is free to store the cartons here, 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 wherever they want. There is no further check. But when you are using EWM, you will be having, say, handheld device, that is Honeywell based gun or scanner or tablet or whatever you have in the warehouse. There the resource will be scanning the carton label to make sure that the resource is picking the right carton, and then the resource would be scanning the bin label here to make sure that the carton would be stored in the right bin. That is the difference. In case you are in the automobile, then you can think from the automobile point of view. Suppose you have this warehouse structure. Now here you have a storage type or a parking area where you are storing vehicles less than 1200 cc. Here you are storing vehicles more than 1200 cc. Now within this you have different parking levels dedicated for a separate vehicle. Okay, so here you have less than 1200 cc and here you have more than 1200 cc. Now when you receive the vehicle, in case of no EWM, suppose you have received a vehicle which is supposed to be stored here somewhere, here. Now if the resource is new in the warehouse and you have received the vehicle, how the resource would be able to figure out where the parking lot is open, available? The resource will have to look across the warehouse to figure out where he can park the vehicle. But in case you have EWM, system will direct the resource to go here in the second level parking, that is your storage type, go into the storage section dedicated for that particular vehicle, turn left, go straight, and then finally you will find a parking slot number 010201, like that. And based on that, the resource will be easily able to store the vehicle. And similarly here in the Walmart store. So that is about the structure of the warehouse. So if we go again further, here you can see the warehouse structure where you have a door. This is your door. This is your staging area. So in EWM, you have a door. When you are moving the product from door to the staging area, you are moving from door bin to the staging area bin. And in the simple process, from staging area, it will be directly going into the bins. Okay, so this is your storage type with the role of door. This is your storage type with the role of staging area. In the simple process, it will be directly going into the bin. But assuming that you have received a carton that contains 50 apples and 50 potatoes. So this carton where you are going to store. This space is dedicated for fruits. So apples would be stored here. This space, this storage section is dedicated for vegetables. So potatoes would be stored here. Apples would be stored here. But you have received a carton which contains 50 apples and 50 potatoes. Maybe a layer of thermocol in between or bubble wrap or whatever it is. But you have received this carton from the vendor because vendor don't want to ship the partially filled carton and they wanted to utilize the full space of the carton. So in that case, you will take this carton to a place which is called as a work center. And in the work center, you will split the carton. So you will split the carton into two small cartons and then this will be stored as per the storage requirement. So this is a complex EWM process. Simple EWM, you receive, you have unloaded from door to the staging area, unloaded from door to the staging area. Okay, simple process. After unloading from 9010 storage type, it is going into the 0050 bins. Complex process, after unloading in the staging area, it will be going into the work center. So here it is represented as 8010, which is deconsolidation. Deconsolidation is splitting this carton into two different cartons or multiple cartons. It could be your quality inspection work center, it could be your value added services, whatever it is. When you receive, suppose you have received milk in the company Nestle, you will be receiving milk from the vendor. So you don't want to store the milk directly in the warehouse. You wanted to first check the quality if the milk is fulfilling your quality standards or not. But you cannot keep the product here because the next trucks in a queue would be waiting to unload. So you will take it to a place which is represented as a work center here. And similarly, when you ship it to the customer, you will withdraw from the bins. In case of simple shipping, from bins to the staging area directly, and here the truck would be waiting. You will load into the truck. From here, the truck will be leaving for a shipment to the customer. In case a customer is having a separate packing requirement, then you will take it in a work center, that is a packing work center. You will pack as per the customer specific requirement and then you will take the pallet or carton or crate, whatever packing you are using in the staging area. Okay, so I will just pause here for 30 seconds in case anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so this is about the org structure, and then you have a staging area where we can see the staging area and door. So again, based on the process, if you are in a company which handles hazardous material, or assuming that the Walmart is having hazardous materials as well. So in case they are receiving nitric acid. So nitric acid, when you receive, you don't want to receive at this place, because that is a hazardous material that will be handled in a different way, that will be stored separately from the rest of the products. So that is the reason you have a functionality where you can tie the staging area and door together at the product level, so that when the truck comes, the truck will be directed to go at the isolated place and complete the unloading, and here the resources will be wearing the PPE kits and so on. Okay, and then we have a work center which we already talked about. So here when we talk about the inbound process, the process starts with creation of the purchase order, and then inbound delivery is mandatory in EWM. So inbound delivery will be created. How the system knows this inbound delivery will be going into EWM, or it will be received as a IM, or it will be considered as a WM. So storage location is the controlling factor. Based on the storage location, system knows that the inbound delivery should be distributed in EWM. In case of decentralized EWM, you will see inbound delivery notification and additional document which is getting created, that is a replica of your ERP inbound delivery. In case of embedded, this inbound delivery would be directly creating another inbound delivery in EWM. So this inbound delivery would be having EWM specific parameters. Similarly, in the outbound process, with reference to sales order or stock transport orders or vendor return process, you will create the outbound delivery. For decentralized EWM, outbound delivery would be creating outbound delivery request in EWM. But in the embedded, outbound delivery would be creating outbound delivery order in EWM. This inbound delivery and this outbound delivery order are also called as a warehouse request. That means requesting warehouse for additional activities. Which activity? This activity. And this is called as a warehouse task. So warehouse task, where you will see all the information pertaining to goods movement within the warehouse. The source, destination, this is your source, this is your destination, which product, how many units, which batch, in case of carton or in case of pallet, you have the number. So all this information would be available in the warehouse task. And similarly, when you have the outbound process where you are shipping to the customer, you will pick the product from the bin, bring it in the staging area, and from staging area, you will load into the truck and then ship it to the customer. So this is a warehouse task for the outbound stock removal process. This is the warehouse task for the inbound. We call it as a put away process. In EWM, you have put away. Put away is storing the product in the warehouse. Picking means removing the product from the warehouse. You also have internal warehouse processes where you want to move the product from one bin to another bin, or one storage type to another storage type. Or if you notice that the product or carton is damaged, then you would like to block the carton, scrap the carton, throw it in a dustbin. So that is your internal warehouse processes. You also wanted to do the physical inventory within the warehouse. So like that, there are several internal warehouse process. But in all the process, your warehouse task will be created. So this warehouse task, which contains the information of goods movement, which contains the information of your source and destination bin, would be assigned to the resource, and resource would be executing this task. So assuming that you have a very tall rack, okay, you have a very tall rack here, and system has determined this bin. Okay, now when you have received the carton, if a regular resource like you and me take the carton, and after taking this carton, the system has determined this bin. So the resource is taking the carton and coming all down to a new building, second building, and then he noticed that this place is not reachable. Resource cannot reach here. It requires forklift operator. So if that is the situation, then why can't the forklift operator take the carton right from here? How the system knows that this has to be taken up by the forklift operator? Because the destination is not reachable to the regular resource. So that means in a right resource would be executing the right task for the right process at the right time. So in order to make sure that this happens, you have this task or the series of tasks assigned to the resource, and that document is your warehouse order. So every warehouse order contains multiple tasks or single task. If I am getting this warehouse order, I am responsible to execute the task or tasks which are linked to the order. So if I am a forklift operator, then my warehouse order contains multiple tasks. Weight of the task would be 500 kg. But if I am a regular resource, I will be getting a warehouse order which is having task of not more than 50 kg. And how these warehouse orders will be created? Based on warehouse order creation tools. You have different filtering criteria to make sure that the right resource will be executing the right task at the right time and in the right process. Right process, I mean the resources responsible for the inbound should not be executing the warehouse orders created for the outbound. Okay, then we have the advanced process of wave and the two-step picking. Then the data transfer methods we have. So the purpose of wave is we are picking the right product at the right time. If a truck is coming in the morning at 10, another truck is coming in the evening at 5, and the resource working in the morning shift should start picking for the truck which is coming at 10 a.m. and not for the truck which is coming at 5 p.m. If three trucks are coming here at a time in between 10 to 10:30 a.m. in the morning, all these three trucks requires 50 pieces of apples or one carton of apples. It is expected that a resource who would be picking can pick three carton at a time, bring it here and then load into the truck individually. So the purpose is efficiently utilize the resources for your picking, for your outbound process, so that the truck will have to wait here for less time and your warehouse efficiency will be increased. And then you have a data transfer method, that is a technical. That means you have ERP, you have EWM. In case of decentralized, how it works. In case of embedded, how it works. Because ERP is having a separate master data, a separate material master. EWM is having separate product master. Documents creating in ERP would be creating another documents in EWM. How the data transfer methods and how the transactional data transfer methods works in decentralized, non-S4, decentralized, S4 and embedded S4. All that we will see during our sessions. Then in ERP you have a movement type, in EWM you have a warehouse process type. That is all about goods movement. Every goods movement in ERP, as you already know, requires a movement type, and in EWM it requires a warehouse process type. For all your packaging requirement, you have a packaging specification in EWM. In ERP, you have a packaging instructions, but packaging specification is more advanced than packaging instructions. In case you have a television, you want to pack a television in a bubble wrap and then put the television wrap with the bubble wrap in a carton, and then you have 5 such cartons. In between 2 cartons, you would like to put a thermocol. So how the resource would be knowing that this is the packing requirement? So that will be at the packaging specification, which is at the product level. And yard management is all about truck movement. In case you have a door we have already talked about. You have 3 doors and 10 trucks are coming at a time. So how you are going to manage truck movements? How you are going to prioritize the trucks? Which truck would be docking at the door for unloading or loading? Which truck will be waiting in a parking area? Once the door is free, then from the parking area, which truck you are going to prioritize and call to the door for loading and unloading? All about yard, which is the space outside the warehouse where the truck movement happens. That is your yard. Okay. So let me know in case you have any questions so far. Okay, so our training will be in S4 HANA Embedded 2022 or 2023 server. And our course outline is like this. So we will be creating brand new warehouse right from scratch. We are not going to use any existing warehouse. We will start from storage locations, because plant requires configuration of financial elements as well, cost center, GL accounts and so on. So we don't want to go into that level of complexity of finance. Our focus throughout the training will be EWM. So we will be taking the existing plant in a system S4 HANA 2022 or 2023. There we will be creating storage locations, and then we can set the storage location as EWM manage, and then we will configure the EWM structure. And then we have a data transfer method between ERP and EWM that we are going to set up. All the warehouse structure, work center, and what we talked about. EWM master data, WPT for all the goods movement. Handling unit, we will first execute the process without HU. That is simpler, very simplest process. Then we will increase the complexity, set up the handling units, and then we'll use HU handling units for our processes, our process execution postings. Then we have a different put away rules here. When system is determining this bin, it will be on what basis? So you have several different put away rules that we are going to learn in the good receipt process. Similarly, several different stock removal strategies: first in, first out, first expiry, first out, last in, first out. If multiple cartons are there fulfilling first in, first out, then what would be the second criteria? All that we will see in the goods issue process. Packaging specification will be about packing requirement, warehouse order creation rule, internal warehouse processes, that is your stock transfers from one bin to another, posting change, replenishment, physical inventory process. In ERP, you have a output determination where you will trigger the condition type, and then based on that you will print or send it through the EDI or fax or whatever. In EWM, there is no output determination, there is action determination. That will be in the post processing framework. Wave management for increasing the picking efficiency. Storage control. This one is your storage control where you have a work center. Yard management, all about the truck movement. Resource and queue management, how you will efficiently utilize the resources in the warehouse, and how you will make sure that the right resource will be executing the right process at the right time. That will be in the resource and queue management. Whatever we have executed here in the inbound, outbound, and complex process, all this we have executed here till here in GUI. And then we can set up the RF, and then you will see that we will scan the HU label here, scan the label here, and then scan the label here. So when you have EWM in the warehouse, then every warehouse would be using the RF device, handheld device. So that setting we are going to do in the system, and then executing all the process through RF device. Then you have different exception scenarios, like when the resource goes here for the bin, for the put away. Resource notice that the bin is broken, or it is smelling, or it is leaking. Then how he is supposed to handle the situation at this time? Resource going here in a bin for picking. He noticed that out of 50, 30 apples are already damaged. Then how he is supposed to handle the situation? All that will be your exception handlings. And then you have a cross docking. So when you have a truck coming here for the outbound process, you receive 100 apples you are storing here, but when you receive the customer requirement of 100 apples again, or 50 apples, you will pick, and from here you will bring it in the staging area. But instead of put away and then again picking from here, why can't you directly move from here to here? That is your cross docking. So that is our last topic here. And then we'll talk about at every point we will talk about all the business specific requirements, and based on that we will set up in the system, and we'll also talk about all the cutover activities and the project specific say enhancements that could be required at every process. That will be our course content. So in my previous several batches, there were some freshers as well, the guys who have not yet logged into the system, brand new freshers in SAP. So for those freshers, just to give them sufficient time to get up to speed, the initial two session I will be starting with SAP overview. So there I will be explaining about all the basic core modules of SAP, how the core modules are integrated with EWM, and the basic SAP navigations. That they will be having one entire 1 week to practice in the system, get up to speed. Because when we start EWM, so if you have no experience in EWM, you are a fresher in EWM. Even if you have 20 years of experience in SAP SD or MM module, but no experience in EWM, you are a fresher. Because in EWM, your transactions are different, tables are different, navigations are different, everything is different, which is different from rest of the modules. There is no connection at all. If you think that you are already in a WM and it will be very easy for you to get into the EWM, you are wrong. If you are in the WM, then only advantage is that you understand the organization structure little bit. Rest of the knowledge what you have in the WM, that you have to unlearn to learn EWM. Okay, so I will pause here for 1 minute. In case you have any questions, let me know.
Ashish.
Satya.
Yes, Ashish. Regarding this, you are saying that it is EWM is different from regular ERP. Like it means EWM does not is not included in ERP, or how it is?
Okay, so different. What I mean, the navigations are different, your transactions are different, your tables are different. But if you recall our very first discussion here, EWM is integrated with all your supply chain modules. Okay, that is the
Oh,
first point which I said. EWM integrated with all the modules. Second point, throughout the course, you will have to remember the fence. There is a
yes.
fence between
EWM without
ERP and
answer.
EWM.
Okay. It means this EWM is separate system and ERP is also is separate system, and we are integrating both the things in EWM, right?
No. So we again talked about the decentralized EWM. In case of
Okay.
decentralized EWM, you have a different box, different system,
Okay.
which is EWM. In case of embedded, EWM is embedded in ERP, but still
Okay.
it is considered as a different logical system, and you have a fence which you need to remember. When I
Okay.
talk about a fence, it means integration between ERP and EWM.
Mm.
Integration between storage locations in ERP and the warehouses in EWM. Integration between the material master data or other business partner in ERP to the product master and business partner in EWM. Integration between inbound deliveries in ERP to inbound delivery in EWM.
Oh, okay. Just thank you.
Okay, now when you execute any posting here, okay,
Okay.
now assuming that, think from the business. So every point of time you will have to think from the business point of view and then come to the system point of view. When you create a purchase order, what you do? You send the purchase order to the vendor, correct? You
Okay.
send the purchase
Yes.
order to the vendor, then vendor will provide you the acknowledgement, vendor will send you the shipping notification, the shipping notification will create the inbound delivery, and then inbound delivery would be distributed in EWM. Shipping
Okay.
notification the vendor will be sending when the truck leaves the vendor premises. Unloading you
Okay.
are doing here when the truck reaches your warehouse.
Yes.
When unloading is done, that means goods are received in your system. That means goods
Yes.
are received in your warehouse. That time you
Correct.
will be paying to the vendor, correct?
Yes.
So how the left side of the fence knows that the goods are received in the right side of the fence? That
Hmm.
will be through
Hmm.
data transfer method. So the inbound delivery which you have received here,
Hmm. Hmm.
once it is completed, it will be sending the message here, and this will be completed too. Good receipt will be posted automatically in the background, and then you will post the invoice.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that is the integration.
Okay. Got it. Thank you, Ashish.
Okay, any further questions, anyone?
Hi Ashish, how to practice EWM classes?
Yeah, so I will be providing a server access to every one of you. I mean, who will be enrolling, and then whatever setup I am doing in the system, the same system you will be having it. Immediately within 30 minutes of the session, I will be sharing the recording. You will be having all the PPTs, course material recording with you, and then you have the system as well. So accordingly, you can practice in your time. Okay, everyone will be getting their own credentials that will be used only by you. No other person is going to use that credentials. So you can practice throughout a week because our sessions will be only Saturday and Sunday, this time only. Evening IST, morning CST. 2 hours Saturday and 2 hours Sunday. So you can practice rest of the week based on your suitable time.
Ashish, how many days this course is going to take?
Okay, so this will be close to 40 hours of training, and then it will take close to 10 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, and then you will be having a system for 10 weeks only. But in case you want to extend it further, you can always do by paying the system charges. Okay, and one more thing, the entire course is divided into 3 levels of complexity. Level 1 complexity, which is the basic, where you are going to learn all the new EWM terminologies. Everything pertaining to EWM, I will be explaining you the basic terminologies which you don't know if you don't have experience in EWM. The second, level 2, will be all the functionalities, terminologies, then you have all the different functionalities, and the level 3 will be the complex design. Terminologies plus functionalities we are going to combine, and then forming a process, a complex process, and executing in the system. So the idea is that you should be comfortable with level 1 to get into level 2, and should be comfortable with level 2 to understand level 3. Okay, so 4 hours we will be doing during the weekend, but in case you have no experience in EWM, then it requires minimum 15 to 20 hours of practice throughout the week. Any further questions, anyone? Yes, Satya.
Ashish, one more question. Like, do we have any technical formalities to be followed, or how it would be
No,
technical one?
you don't need to
About
install any software, or you just need to have okay, so for system point of view, you just need to have a laptop, and
okay,
I will provide you the server that will be the remote desktop. So you don't need to install any GUI or SAP software in your system. The remote desktop, there you will see the SAP system already installed. And this is a
not
core functional
system.
training,
Okay, okay,
and there is no requirement to learn any coding or programming for this.
okay, okay,
This is for a functional EWM consultant only.
okay, okay. Here, as you said, like both centralized and decentralized, you will be teaching us, or only
No,
embedded with all the
our, yeah,
decent.
so our
Okay,
system, so we have only embedded S4 HANA system, S4 HANA 2022, or we'll see 2023 if we get it. So that
Okay.
will be embedded only. So setting we are going to do in the system for the embedded, but I will be explaining you in case you have a decentralized, then what all differences it will be having.
Yes, yes. That would be useful. Okay.
And
Okay.
decentralized, I mean decentralized S4 as well as decentralized R3.
Okay. R3 still it is continuing, or have, as you said, it will be in sunset and
No, no,
1 to
sunset
2
will
years
be WM. Sunset will be WM.
problem.
But
Okay.
R3,
Okay.
I mean non S4 HANA. The organizations
Non-S4.
which are not in S4 HANA so far,
Okay.
or they are in S4 HANA ERP but EWM 9.5, not in EWM S4 HANA.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it, Ashish. Thank you.
Any further questions, anyone? Okay, guys, so in a batch, I accommodate only 8 candidates, and the moment 8 candidates are done, then I will freeze the batch. And at a time, I conduct only one training session because of the other commitments. Okay, so in case you want to enroll those who are coming here through the training institutes, you can talk to the training institutes, and those who are coming here directly to a referral or contacted me, you can talk to me directly. Okay, so if no further questions, we can close the session here.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for joining. Bye.
Thank